Hi, my name is Scott Gibson with Beneath the Surface. I'm here with Lawrence Roulston of Resource Opportunities. Thanks for being with us, Lawrence.
Great to be here, Scott.
Now, with the recent dramatic pullback in the gold and silver and metal prices, wanted to get your take on what that means to us, specifically in the junior mining space. But first, what does that mean to us on the metals? Are we at the bottom?
Well, of course, what's happened over the last few days in particular, and certainly over the last number of weeks, has been, on an emotional level, has been absolutely horrifying. It's terrible. It's in more than 3 decades in this business, I've never seen this kind of destruction. Longer term, of course, it's a blip, and we're going to look back on this at some point, but we need to get through this time. It's brutal at the moment. What happened to gold? We've seen a number of cycles over the last 12 years where the gold price has pulled back like this, maybe not quite as severely as it has this time, but it's recovered. And every time the gold price has dropped as it has here, and people have come in at this time in the cycle, they've done very well.
So what you're saying is we may or may not be at a bottom, but it's definitely a buying opportunity if you're looking long term.
Just looking at the prices of the companies, which is really where my focus is. I'm looking at companies right now in sort of 2 categories. There are companies that are grossly undervalued, but at the same time there are companies that are still grossly overvalued.
And how do you mean that, grossly undervalued, if they're trading at a penny or a nickel? Well,
there's companies that are trading at a penny that I think are still overvalued because they have no assets, they have no cash, and they have really no prospect of generating any kind of shareholder return in the foreseeable future. Now, those companies are going to continue to sell off. I'm looking at situations right now where companies are offered at half a cent and there's no bid. And the consensus opinion of people is that it's not worth even a half cent a share. And there's a lot of companies in that situation. There are people that want to get out of this business. There are institutions that came in that never should have been investing in this sector because they never really understood it. They want to get out of it, and they're going to take whatever they can get. If they could give it away, I think they'd give it away.
Well, there's been massive redemptions.
There's been redemptions in the funds to the point of a lot of funds have totally wrapped up and gone out of business. They need to sell. They'll take whatever they can get for it. And as I said, if they could give it away at this point, I think they'd do that.
And so what are you looking at now? Where is the opportunity in this space?
Well, the opportunity is in the companies that have real assets, that have some cash, that have a management team that knows how to add value.
And they've been beaten down as well.
They've been beaten down as well. Everything has been beaten down across the sector. I'm looking at companies right now that are trading at less than half their cash value, that have assets, that have management teams. Extraordinary value opportunities. There's great assets out there that are trading almost for nothing. And if you can differentiate between the companies that have the ability to add value and recover and show that ultimately that they have value, then those companies are going to. It'll be like every cycle in the past where people that have come in at the bottom of the market and bought the good companies have realized gains of 2, 3, 10 times their investment by coming in at this time in the market.
Are you seeing people come in at this stage of the market, new money, old money, mining sector guys reinvesting? What's your take?
Absolutely, there's guys coming in. I mean, all of us, people that have been in the industry for a long time, are probably up to our eyeballs in stock that's way underwater. And we're not able to aggressively buy as much as we would like to. But there is new money coming in, and I'm hearing the big players in the industry, the people that really understand this industry, are going out now and raising money. And I'm seeing private equity coming into the sector. I'm seeing a number of other investors, Asian money, coming in that recognizes how undervalued these companies are.
And what are they looking for? The same kind of stuff that you're talking about, those rare opportunities where there's an asset with a management team, or are they looking to come in on a private basis and take things private that were public?
Well, I think a lot of them would prefer to just come in and buy it outright. Mm-hmm. That only makes sense if it's in production or almost in production. and that's what a lot of them are doing. We're going to be seeing a lot of takeover offers for companies that are near production. That's the focal point right now. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't even matter so much whether it's gold or base metal or iron or coal. If it is near production and has the ability to generate cash flow, mm-hmm. that's what they're looking at. The private equity guys, they don't really care if it's gold or coal. Mm-hmm. They're looking at it from a cash flow perspective. And there's some good assets out there that are near production. They're de-risked, and in some cases, there's situations where they should be in production, but for the lack of a very small amount of capital. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to see private equity money taking these things over, putting the money in, taking them to production, and waiting for the next time when all the investors are clamoring to get their hands on this stuff. And that's when the private equity is going to take these things public again and exit.
And you're going through your due diligence process right now on these, seeking out the opportunities. Is that what's going to be appearing in your publication, Resource Opportunities, over the next weeks to months?
Absolutely. That's I'm more than ever. I'm focused on companies that have real assets, that have good management teams, that have cash or the ability to raise cash, mm-hmm. and I'm looking to. That's definitely what's going to be in the newsletter.
Well, I've been following and reading your newsletter for over a decade and made a lot of money in these times where the markets have been low, and you've seeked out those kind of companies. So I'm very interested in seeing what you come up with in the next few months. Thanks very much for being with us, Lawrence. Appreciate your comments.
My pleasure.
Again, my name is Scott Gibson with Beneath the Surface. This is Lawrence Roulston from Resource Opportunities. Thanks for being with us.